If you are making over $100,000 a year right now, yet a surprise $600 tax bill or car repair still makes your stomach drop, this video is going to piss you off. Because I am about to show you exactly how you are being mathematically and psychologically scammed by your own ambition. Look at the modern digital professional. You hustle for years to double your income. You finally hit that dream milestone, $10,000, $15,000 a month. You upgrade your tech. You build the ultimate aesthetic home office. You subscribe to the best premium software. You buy the productivity courses. You are doing exactly what society and the internet told you to do. Invest in yourself. Yet, when you look at your bank account on the 28th of the month, you are quietly suffocating. You are making more money than you ever have in your life, but your burn rate has silently stalked your income. You aren't building wealth, you are just running on a highly paid, aesthetically pleasing treadmill. You are one bad month away from a panic attack. Meanwhile, there's a guy making half your salary, working off a cracked 3-year-old laptop at a kitchen table who has $150,000 sitting in index funds. He sleeps 8 hours a night. He doesn't stress over algorithms or client churn. This isn't an accident, and it's not about skipping your morning coffee. You are trapped in a brilliantly disguised psychological warfare called the productivity premium. It is a trap specifically designed for smart, ambitious people, and the harder you work, the deeper it buries you. Here is exactly how it's draining your life, and the one brutal truth you need to accept to escape it. To understand why your high income feels like a trap, we have to look at the lie we tell ourselves about optimization. When you start out, you work with what you have. But the moment your income spikes, your brain executes a stealthy recalibration. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. But in the modern workspace, it mutates into what I call the frictionless illusion. Here is how it infects you. You convince yourself that to perform at a higher level, you need zero friction. The $800 laptop that made you your first $50,000 suddenly feels too slow when you hit $100,000. So you drop $3,500 on an M3 MacBook Pro. You tell yourself it's an investment in your speed. For 3 weeks, it feels amazing. But by month 2, that blazing speed is just normal. Your dopamine baseline has reset. You didn't buy productivity, you just permanently increased your standard of what is acceptable. Now, working on anything less than a $3,500 machine feels unbearable. You do this with everything. You upgrade from free Notion to a $30 per month productivity stack. You hire a virtual assistant for tasks you could automate. You rent a premium co-working space because you tell yourself the networking is vital. You are essentially building a massive, expensive infrastructure just to do the exact same work you were doing 2 years ago. You aren't scaling your output, you are scaling your overhead. But hedonic adaptation is only the right hook. The knockout punch is the digital Diderot effect. Humans do not measure success in absolute numbers. We measure it by looking sideways. In the 18th century, philosopher Denis Diderot was gifted a beautiful, expensive robe. He put it on, looked at his old wooden desk, and suddenly the desk felt cheap. So he bought a mahogany desk. Then his rug looked ugly next to the desk. He replaced the rug. Within months, he was completely broke, having replaced his entire study to match one single item. Now, look at your workspace. Look at your digital life. You buy a nice 4K monitor. Suddenly, your $20 webcam looks terrible on it. So you drop $800 on a mirrorless camera for Zoom calls, but in crisp 4K, your background looks amateur. So you buy expensive ambient lighting, acoustic panels, and a $1,500 Herman Miller chair so you look like a real professional on camera. Then you need an audio interface to match the visual quality. Without consciously deciding to, you have rearranged your entire financial existence around the endless pursuit of an aesthetic. You categorize these luxury purchases as business expenses, completely ignoring the fact that none of them actually move the needle on your revenue. They are status signals masquerading as utility. This is the psychological meat grinder that traps high earners. Hedonic adaptation pushes you to constantly chase a new normal, while the digital Diderot effect forces you to match the aesthetic of the top 1% of creators and professionals you see on your feed. They pull in the exact same direction: spend more, upgrade, optimize. So, how do digital minimalists break this? They don't do it by hating technology or taking vows of poverty. They do it through strategic under-optimization. Minimalists make one ruthless decision that high earners refuse to make. They define their hard stop baseline. Before the money arrives, they calculate the exact minimum viable setup required to deliver world-class work. They ask, if absolutely no one could see my workspace, my software, or my title, what tools do I actually need to execute? Once they define that baseline, they lock it in a vault. As their income goes from $60,000 to $150,000 to $300,000, their overhead refuses to budge. They don't absorb their raises into a bloated lifestyle. They weaponize their raises to buy back their freedom. Let's look at the terrifying mathematics of this mindset. Take two freelancers, both scaling to $180,000 a year. Person A never defined their hard stop baseline. Every new client meant a new upgrade, a better CRM, a sleeker office, a newer car to drive to meetings. Their business and lifestyle overhead balloons to $160,000 a year. They are saving $20,000, but more importantly, they are exhausted. If they lose a major client, their entire fragile empire collapses. They are a highly paid hostage to their own lifestyle. Person B defined their baseline 3 years ago at $60,000. They use the same reliable tech, the same streamlined software, the same modest apartment. They save and invest $120,000 a year. Fast forward just 5 years, Person A has $100,000 saved and an ulcer. Person B has over $700,000 compounding in the market. Same industry, same revenue, same economy. The only difference is that one person let a psychological loop dictate their spending and the other built a fortress. Person A built a museum of depreciating assets. Person B built an exit strategy. You don't need to throw away your MacBook or work in a basement, but you urgently need to do a 48-hour baseline audit. Look at your life, your subscriptions, your tech, your essential expenses right now. Strip away everything that exists purely to impress your peers, appease the algorithm, or soothe your ego. Write down the absolute brutal minimum number you need to live comfortably and execute your work effectively. Write that number down. Defend it with your life. Because here is the cold, hard truth that most high earners realize a decade too late. The goal of making more money was never to buy better tools. The goal was to buy back your time. Somewhere along the line, you confused looking successful with being free, and that confusion is bleeding you dry. The trap isn't your income. The trap is the arrogant assumption that more income requires a more expensive operation. Break that assumption. Realize that true financial dominance isn't about out-earning your spending habits. It is about wanting less than your ambition can effortlessly afford. That is the ultimate flex. If this video just shattered a psychological loop you didn't even know was controlling your bank account, hit the subscribe button right now. Your environment and the media you consume shape your financial reality. Let's keep rewiring it together. See you in the next one. What is your current biggest business expense that you now realize might just be lifestyle creep?